time index, then I would highly recommend watching that first before you continue on this. For this tutorial, I'm on Google Finance and I'm going to download Apple stock prices. You click on historical prices here. It allows you to specify the date range here. So you specify that date range and click on this link to download the prices in this kind of CSV. I have the prices from the month of June 2017. Now, let's say due to whatever reason, the data that you are processing doesn't have this date column. Okay, so your CSV file looks like this. So you can see that this, just compare these two files. This has dates, this doesn't have dates. Okay, and not having date is pretty bad because to process time series information you need those dates. Okay, so date range function will allow you to generate these dates. Now one thing you would notice is it's not straight 1 to 30 as a sequence. You have things like weekends. So for example, 3rd and 4th June were weekends, so you see that missing here. And date range will allow you to handle all of this. Okay, so as usual, I have launched my Jupyter notebook here by running Jupyter notebook command and created this new notebook, and I am importing that CSV file into my data frame. So let me execute this to see how my data frame looks. Okay, so my data frame right now looks pretty boring because it has only open, high, low, close, etc. It doesn't have dates and it has this integer index, and I want to generate dates and insert into this data frame. In order to do that, you have to call pandas date range function. Now date range function takes couple of arguments. The first argument is start. So the start date of your range. So my start date here is 1st June 2017 and my end date is 30th June. So 6/30/2017, and then the third argument is your frequency. Okay, so frequency I'm going to supply as B because B means business days, which will exclude the weekends. Okay, and when I execute this, you can see that I have 1st, 2nd, and 3rd and 4th is missing. I straight have 5th. So if you notice the calendar here, you will see 3rd and 4th were weekends and it successfully excluded it. So awesome, wonderful. I have all these dates now. Now all I need to do is set these dates as an index in my data frame. Okay, now how do I do that? So if you remember, data frame has a function called set index where you can specify your index and you can just say in place equal to true. Remember, this argument is important. If you don't say in place is equal to true, then it will not modify this original data frame. Instead, it will return a new data frame. All right, so when I run this, now my data frame looks much better. It has date as an index. All right, now just to recap the benefits of datetime index. With datetime index, you can do amazing things. For example, you want to plot a chart of, let's say, closing stock price. Okay, you can easily do that by first specifying the matplotlib inline logic, the line magic logic. Okay, and then saying df.close.plot. Okay, when you do that, it will specify nice plot with dates. So here you have dates and here you have prices. Now if you didn't have this, then the chart will put only index here versus here it is putting the dates. All right, now you can do partial date selection and you can specify your dates. For example, I'm interested in first 10 days of closing stock prices. Okay, so you can specify your date range like this, and it will return you a partial data frame. Also, how about getting an average of closing price in first 10 days? You can do that as well. So you can see you can do amazing things with this date time index. Okay, now let's say due to whatever reason you want your data frame to have prices on weekends also. So you can see that you are missing the weekend prices. Now on weekends, really stocks did not trade, so you don't have the price, but you can assume that whatever was the price on Friday was the price on Saturday and Sunday. You can do this thing using pandas asfreq method. So I'm going to insert a new cell in my notebook here and call df.asfreq function. So asfreq will allow you to regenerate your data frame according to that new frequency. So my new frequency I want is days. Okay, so days include the weekends, and the method that you want to use to carry over the prices is padding. All right, so let's execute it and see what happens. All right, so when I do asfreq days, what happened right here is previously my data frame were missing the prices on 3rd and 4th, because 3rd and 4th, as you know, were the weekend. So you can see 3rd and 4th were the weekend. So now I generated these prices here using padding method, and what padding will do is it will just carry forward the dates on 3rd, the prices on 3rd to 4th and 5th. So you can see the prices are same here. You can pretty much generate frequency to anything. You can say, okay, I want weekly. All right, so weekly will show you only weekly prices. You can also do hourly and it will show you hourly prices. This is pretty amazing stuff actually. Whenever you have holes in your data and you want to carry over data from a previous date or previous hour, you can always use asfreq. Now to figure out the list of available frequencies, you can always go to pandas documentation. So if I go to pandas documentation here and type in date range, it will show me the link where I can have all the available frequency. So here we just use days and business days and hourly frequency, but you can specify like secondly frequency or year end, whatever is your business use case. Okay, now back to our date range function. You notice that here I gave start date and end date and frequency. Now let's say I only know about start date and I don't know about end date, but I know how many periods I want to generate, like how many date time index elements I want to have in my range. You can do this by doing, all right, so I created a new cell here and my new range is, let's say, this. So pandas date range, my start date is, let's say, 1st January 2017. Okay, and I don't know about my end date, but I have number of periods. So you can say my periods is equal to, let's say, 72. Okay, and then specify your frequency. When I execute this, I get 72 days starting from 1st January. Okay, and these days are business days, so they exclude weekends. So for example, 1st January was weekend, so I excluded that. Okay, you can pretty much generate any frequency. So you can say hourly frequency, give me 72 periods. Okay, now this could be useful when you are generating test data. So let's say you are writing some unit test or integration test and you want to generate some fake data. All right, for that it could be useful, and I'll show you how. So what you can do is you can generate some random numbers. So I'm going to import numpy and call numpy's random.randint. So this function allows you to generate random numbers. Okay, now I can specify my range here. So let's say I want to generate random numbers between 1 and 10. Okay, and how many numbers I want to generate? Well, I want to generate, let's say, whatever is the length of my range. When you do that, it gives you basically 72 numbers. Okay, random numbers between 1 and 10. Okay, now I can generate Pandas series out of this. Okay, so I can say my time series is Pandas series, okay, which has these numbers, and my index is equal to range. Okay, and when I print this time series, you will see that I have random numbers between 1 to 10 for all these dates or frequency. You see that I have hourly frequency. This is pretty useful if you are generating some sample, some random samples to conduct your unit test or integration test or for any other reason. All right, cool. Now, one thing that date range will not handle is holidays specific to any calendar. For example, we had like 4th of July as a holiday in US because it is an Independence Day. So that's something that B frequency will not handle. B will only handle weekends. And for that, we will have to use holiday calendar, and that is its own topic. So we are going to cover that in future tutorial. I have this Jupyter notebook in a video description below, so I would recommend that you download it, you play with it. Remember, learning coding is like learning swimming. If you see someone swim, then you're not going to learn how to swim. You have to jump in the pool and get yourself wet. Similarly, for coding, whenever I'm teaching on these tutorials, please download these code in advance and then try to play with it as you are following me on these videos. All right, so